High Priestess Yeldana knelt before the ancient transmitter in the deepest chamber of the sacred archives, her 6 arms trembling as she activated systems that hadn't been used in 5 millennia. Around her, the crystalline walls pulsed with faint energy signatures left behind by the ancients, the mysterious benefactors who had saved her people from extinction when the Great Darkness first consumed their homeworld. The transmitter itself was a marvel of technology so advanced that her civilization still couldn't understand its basic operating principles. Smooth surfaces of an unknown material that seemed to exist partially outside normal spacetime, inscribed with symbols that hurt to look at directly, and hummed with frequencies that bypassed the ears entirely and spoke directly to consciousness. "Are you certain this is necessary?" asked Archive Keeper Morthek, his bioluminescent patches flickering with anxiety. "The Compact of Silence has maintained galactic peace for 5,000 years. To break it now." Yeldana didn't look up from the complex ritual preparations. "Look at the reports, Keeper. 17 systems sterilized in the past month. The Devourers have returned, and they're more powerful than ever. Our combined fleets lasted exactly 4 hours against their advanced scouts. The Devourers were a nightmare from the galaxy's distant past, a hive-mind species that consumed entire civilizations, converting organic matter into more of themselves and turning dead worlds into breeding factories for their expansion. 5,000 years ago, they had nearly succeeded in devouring every sapient species in the galaxy before stopping. No one knew why the Devourers had suddenly withdrawn to the galactic rim. No one except the keepers of the ancient archives, who preserved the true history that other species had forgotten or chosen to ignore. Humanity had stopped them. "The ancients may not even exist anymore," Morthek protested weakly. 5,000 years of silence suggest. "The ancients made us a promise," Yeldana interrupted, her voice carrying the authority of someone who had spent decades studying humanity's legacy. "They swore that as long as the galaxy sought peace, they would remain silent. But if the Great Darkness ever returned, if extinction threatened sapient life again, they would answer the call." She activated the transmitter's primary sequence, watching as symbols older than most civilizations began to glow within a fire. The device was one of 17 scattered throughout the galaxy, left behind by humanity when they had voluntarily exiled themselves to unknown regions of space after ending the First Devourer War. The official histories recorded that humanity had simply disappeared, their empire and technology vanishing overnight. Only the Archive Keepers knew the truth that humanity had recognized their own capacity for violence and chosen self-imposed isolation rather than risk becoming the galaxy's next great threat. 5,000 years, Yeldana whispered, completing the activation sequence her predecessors had memorized and passed down through generations. "They've been out there watching, waiting, keeping their promise to remain silent as long as we maintained peace." The transmitter erupted with light that existed in spectrums beyond normal perception. Energy cascaded through dimensions that most species couldn't even detect, carrying a message across impossible distances to wherever humanity had been waiting. The message was simple: the darkness has returned. We call upon you to honor your promise. For 3 days, nothing happened. The Devourers continued their advance, consuming the Theta Centauri colonies and beginning their assault on the core worlds. Galactic Defense Forces threw everything they possessed at the invasion, achieving nothing except confirming that the enemy had evolved far beyond their previous capabilities. Then the stars began to move. Admiral Zethkar of the Combined Defense Fleet was the first to detect the impossible sensor readings. Objects were emerging from hyperspace throughout the galaxy, not ships in any conventional sense, but constructs that seemed to be built from crystallized space-time itself, their geometry shifting between dimensions in patterns that defied observation. "How many contacts?" he demanded, his chromatophores cycling through patterns of awe and terror. I can't get an accurate count, Admiral, his sensor officer replied. They appear to be emerging simultaneously in every system where Devourer forces are present. The energy signatures are. They're rewriting our understanding of physics. What had returned to the galaxy after 5 millennia of silence was humanity transformed beyond recognition. They had used their exile not just to remove themselves from galactic affairs, but to evolve into something that transcended normal biological limitations. The ships that emerged from hyperspace were manned by beings who had become something between organic consciousness and living technology. The first engagement occurred in the Rigel system, where a Devourer hive fleet of 40,000 vessels was systematically consuming the local population. The human response was swift, surgical, and absolute. A single human construct, a teardrop of impossible materials, roughly the size of an asteroid, emerged from folded space and proceeded to demonstrate why humanity had feared its own potential. The construct didn't attack the Devourer fleet so much as convince reality that the fleet had never existed. Within moments, 40,000 enemy vessels simply ceased, their matter and energy redistributed across quantum dimensions in ways that violated every known law of physics. The Devourers didn't die. They were retroactively prevented from having ever been in that location. Similar engagements occurred across 17 star systems simultaneously. Wherever the Devourers had established a presence, humanity appeared and erased them with technologies that operated beyond the boundaries of normal spacetime. High Priestess Yeldana received confirmation of humanity's return through the ancient communication networks that still connected the archive keepers across the galaxy. But it was the message that accompanied the confirmation that left her speechless. Greetings to our younger siblings, came the transmission, broadcast on frequencies that bypassed all known technology and spoke directly to consciousness itself. We have honored our promise to remain silent while the galaxy chose peace. Now we honor our promise to return when extinction threatens. The voice belonged to Admiral Elena Vasquez, though her consciousness had evolved far beyond its original biological boundaries. She spoke for humanity collectively, a species that had become a distributed intelligence operating across multiple dimensions while maintaining their core identity and values. The great darkness will trouble you no longer. But understand that our return comes with conditions. We will cleanse the galaxy of this threat, but afterward, we return to our silence. The galaxy must continue to choose peace, or next time, there may be no one left to call upon. The war, if it could be called that, lasted exactly 17 hours and 43 minutes. Every devourer in the galaxy was located, isolated, and erased from existence with methodical precision. Hive ships, breeding colonies, even microscopic spores, drifting through space, all removed from reality, as if they had never existed. When it was over, humanity's constructs began to fade back into whatever dimensions they had emerged from. But before departing entirely, they left behind updated versions of the ancient transmitters on each world that housed archive keepers. We will be watching. Admiral Vasquez's final message conveyed. The galaxy has chosen peace for 5,000 years, and in exchange, we have remained silent. We hope this choice continues, but we will always be ready to answer if the darkness returns in any form. As the last human construct vanished from normal space, High Priestess Yeldana knelt once again before the transmitter, now enhanced with technology that existed partially outside time itself. Humanity had kept their promise twice: first, to remain silent while peace persisted, then to return when extinction threatened. The galaxy was safe, but the responsibility for maintaining that safety still belonged to those who chose to call it home. Humanity would be watching from whatever realm they now inhabited, ready to return only if called upon again. The silence had returned, but now it carried the weight of protection rather than abandonment.